So still in the planning stages, even before you go out and you get yourself a web host, and you need to determine what type of website you're going to have. So determining the type of website, you can use one of the popular content management systems. So a lot of hosts already have these pre-built in where you could simply click and install. So a lot of hosts will be using Cpanel. So this is an example of what Cpanel looks like. So when you do set up your hosting, you actually have the ability to control a lot of what's happening within your website and your host environment. And a lot of them do have what's called this fantastical package or other similar packages where you could simply click and install any one of these pre-set up open source projects. So all I have to do is simply click and install, and most of the time you'll find WordPress is already set up there. So you just have to simply do a click and install and select whatever directory you want to install WordPress to, and from there that will install WordPress. You also have the option to download WordPress. It's open source. So you could download it and upload it to your server and do the configuration yourself. Other popular content management systems are Joomla. So again, you could just download that if your host doesn't have the ability to do the install of it. Most of them will have that ability, and as well they're going to have a whole bunch of other CMS systems. So again, there's quite a bit of decision making and quite a bit to choose from. They also have some e-commerce solutions. So most of them should have one of these solutions available, as well as discussion boards and so on. So as well as blogs and blog posting CMSs as well. And some of them have builders, so you can actually build out your website using templates right within the host. And then lastly, Drupal, and it's the same thing. It's open source, it's free, so you could download it and set that up on your server. So these are the top 3 main content management systems, but there are quite a lot more. So depending on what your hosting account has available, and also depending on what you're looking for, you can go through and pick out different content systems or different configurations to run your website on your server. And then as well, if you're having your website developed, you have to take into consideration what language the development is being done in. So the front end code, it's going to work the same within browsers because that's client based. So when the browser is connecting to the web server, it's going to render out that content accordingly. So that the only thing to consider is the backend code. If you have any specific database requirements, or if you're getting it developed and you're using a PHP developer, you've got to look for that Apache configuration in order to be able to accommodate PHP files and to make sure that your host that you're picking out has all the configurations that you need in order to run your website.